Greetings, Star Trek Fleet Commanders. I am the Angry Rhino. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. So it looks like at the time of me wanting to do this video, the PC client may be undergoing some maintenance. Either way, I'm having trouble getting that started. So back to using the tablet, which is how I started doing this, I don't know, a year or so ago, however long it's been. But, I was in, okay, it's time to make the video mode. Go into the launcher and it's not working correctly. So, backup plan. So, I'm on my tablet now. And I want to continue with my Archer testing. And I want to stay within the punching up type of trials, I guess. And this is probably something that I should have brought up yesterday. Seeing how it was Wednesday and, Cerritos Wednesday. It's like, well, might be able to use the Cerritos if you put a bunch of warp range extenders on there. And that way you can kind of, what's the word I like to say? Overlap. How I mentioned I try to do some kind of grind during the Cerritos Wednesday SMSs. This is anything hadn't occurred to me. One, because it is new and I'm not liking it, so I'm not paying that much attention to it. But have had some warp range clashes. But it does appear that my Cerritos can get out here to the 55 anyway. And at the same time, I was thinking, ooh, I wonder what other ships I could get out there that I thought maybe couldn't get out there. Like, say, Discovery. Benefit in my content creator mode more than, game player mode. Because I can get out here quicker. So that is what I'm going to do. Got the disco loaded up. Let's going to jump out there. And as I mentioned, I'm on my tablet, so I'm hoping that the sizing will come out okay enough anyway. Doesn't need to come out perfectly, but hopefully well enough. And what I'm going to do, show you the crew I got here. I got Archer with Data and Janeway on the side. Drop the mitigating person below deck with Paris, as you see there. Torres and Hugh as well, because I do have somewhat of an okay floor. And Torres there. And with the Cerritos, and I am going to bring the Cerritos in here. I do have extra crit damage, and that's why I really do concentrate on the SMSs in the Cerritos event, because with the max Cerritos, that's when you can get those rare carver particles. I got to do 5 activations. Don't even... it's somewhat of a struggle to do, because I don't really do it. Alright, and instead of wasting 2 summonings right now, I'm going to warp here, cancel, warp the Cerritos out, cancel as well. Then Cerrito, the Sompek, and then let me summon the Sompek. Thank you. And start attacking with the Sompek, and at the same time, bring the Cerritos there. So I don't have to, waste time waiting for the Cerritos to get there. I think one thing is going to benefit is over here on the right with all the officers, well, I guess more it's the ship menu. I won't need to sacrifice myself, this picture here being smaller so you can see some of the, cargo and buffs and stuff. I think it'll just be blocking out the manage, the locate, and the recall, which is okay. Not doing great. And yes, I do realize that I tried the 53s without the Cerritos yesterday. Didn't go that well. But I wanted to see, because these hostiles are going to be rewarding more stuff. Just wanted to see, because you see this is almost 3,000 a hostile. Instead of what were they yesterday? The 53s are 1,800 or something like that. Just wanted to see if maybe I could get close to the same amount of currency, but let's say it would be less time. There's a benefit there in running your loot crew. Maybe you'll get the same amount of loot, but it will be a shorter amount of time. Not going that great. 105. I mean, 105 isn't terrible. If you are a single chest puller, that is more than one day of single chest pulls. But, oh, there's a survey, dick. Shit. Well, I want this survey guy. Alright, so let's summon you back out here. Get him! Get him! Thank you! Gotta get those survey things. One, a lot more of the Zindi scraps, and you get that whatever bounty hunter helmet looking thing or whatever it is. Cerritos isn't even here yet. Okay. What I'm going to do, we're going to back out. We're going to go down to the 53 system. And we're going to try that. Where the hell is my Cerritos? Wow. I really thought Cerritos would have been there by now. Thought I could, Now, you saw the currency I have for the disco. So you're probably thinking, Rhino, why are you trying to save stuff? It's not necessarily that I'm trying to save disco currency or jump juice, the disco jump juice. It's that I'm trying to, what's the word? Give you guys an idea of a tactic you could use. How much disco juice do you have? Do you have as much as I have? Do you have a reason to be maybe, let's say, a little more frugal with it? Well, that would be a way you could do it. You could Cerrito your ship and then summon it to the system. And then send your Cerritos to the system. And hopefully by the time that you're ready to go again, look, another survey, how nice. Your Cerritos would be there, then you wouldn't have to summon your Cerritos. Solely for saving of time purposes, not any other reason. Alright, so I brought the disco in here. Let's send you over there. Just get you out of the way. Alright, so let's take note of this. I have 130? How much did I get from them guys? Holy shit. Wow. Talk about luck there, huh? Alright, so let's take note of that. Oh yeah, zoom in for me. Great. That's the last thing I want to be happening while I'm recording. So about 131,000. Alright, so let's disco again. And start killing things. But again, this is just, we kind of know what's going to happen. I think this run is going to be a lot better than it was yesterday. And what did I end up with yesterday? Like 185,000? I think this run is going to be a lot better, partly because I do have the Titan, so I have a few of those Cerrito researches that are Titan currency, which is complete bullshit. Mainly for crit chance. And as I have mentioned in other videos in the past, I was able to have 12 weeks of the rare carver particle, so I do have an extra 100% crit damage with my while being buffed by the Cerritos. So again, that should be helping with the Hue and the Torres. And yes, you're not getting as much critical damage as you were, therefore it's not effective as it was, but since the Zindies drop your crit damage by so much, adding so much back, with a Cerritos, or if you can get your Titan out here, by discoing it or by, warping it out there, there could be more crit damage there. So, may help you get closer back to normal and allow you to get more loots per run. Now I have to remember, what was I at, 131,000. So I kind of got a lot more to go, don't I? Goal here is not to make a too long a video because it's just me, killing the hostiles, but I'm trying to, and I guess this really isn't a test, this is more like a demonstration, but maybe you can call it a test to see how much the Cerritos and its extra crit chance and extra crit damage can impact you in this Zindi grind, the grind that reduces your crit damage. It does seem to be going okay. Another thing I had experimented with yesterday, not in video, but at least I don't think I did it in video. I did drop my second isolytic cascader, that would have been Janeway, and I put Kuron on the side just for some speed, which I may try in a different video. Because that is, it's a thing, right? You want all this loot, but we don't want it to take so long. Well, how do you do that? Well, you punch up with your loot crew, maybe getting more loot per hit, or, you put some speed guys on. Well, what you're sacrificing with putting the speed guys on is combat effectiveness. Well, like a Cerritos and a Titan, they could help counter that. So you could get your speed, you could get your extra loot. So you could be doing all this in a reasonable amount of time. Not exactly. Am I actually not even going to get as much? Weird, huh? So I'm at 308. 308 subtract 131 is... It's a good question. What the hell is that? I don't even know. No, wow. Okay, that's interesting. Let's check the battle log, because I don't think I think I got, about the same amount that I did yesterday. Of course, to a certain extent, you have to count a certain percentage of those survey ships because it's about one kill. So maybe instead of, we'll say 130, we'll call it, I don't know how much they were. Guess it was I got about double. So we'll cut it in half, right? So 65,000. So 308 minus 65,000 would be about what? 240 something thousand. So I did do a little better. Counting the fact that I was able to hit a survey ship. Was I able to hit a survey ship in that one? I don't remember. That's a good question. Battle log. I want to check the battle log. Did take 2 rounds, which is somewhat disappointing. Mitigating, close. I mean, 6,000 with 70% of, not 6,000, 6 million. 70% of 6 million is about, 42 million? So that's about max mitigation. No critical hits here in the first. That doesn't help. But you can see here, I'm getting more damage with the Cerritos, because you see my normal shot's about 27, 28 million. Here, a critical hit, 62 million. So I am getting that extra 100% from the Cerritos buff, which is, it is good to know. Yeah, see, you get the critical hits here. And that's interesting because I get the critical hits in the second round where it should be 1,000% critical damage reduction, and these critical hits are about a normal shot. Maybe a little bit more? That's interesting. So, yeah, I mean, it's some of that stuff is adding back. It doesn't look like the Cerritos is adding after the fact, though. I mean, that looks more like it's all Torres. Of course, maybe it is. I don't really. Yeah. But not getting too much of a disadvantage by going with the critical damage. Just didn't seem to happen as the performance with the Cerrito buff didn't seem to go as well as I thought it would. That critical hit was a lot lower. Interesting. Yeah, it's just not critical hitting in the first round. It's like, I mean, it's an extra. I guess it's only an extra 15% with the Cerritos, but 20 something percent normal hostile grinding. So what? 38%. You have all them shots, and it's like, where is critical hitting? There you go, critical hit some more. Tool bag. But it's not going any more than 2 rounds, so that's good. Why are some of these lower? That's weird. And I had that one. It was like that's interesting. See, I got this one in the first round. It's because I got 60 million critical hits. What is it? This one? And then they were low. They were a lot lower than. Yeah, so why. What? Why is this critical hit 42 million, but the battle right before this one, the critical hit was 60 million? That's odd. Have something to do with whether it was an interceptor versus whether it was an explorer? Why would they affect critical damage of you? Because I have research that says explorers have X amount of more critical hit damage against interceptors because it's going with the triangle. So that's something to note too. When you go with the triangle, depending on your level, there are researchers that say, oh, interceptor fighting battleship, it has X more critical damage. Explorer fighting interceptor, X more critical damage. So then you saw a few times going after explorers because for whatever reason, there are so many, they have all 3 types of hostiles. And if you kill, the 5 interceptors that are in the system, it doesn't spawn 5 more interceptors. Yay. Way to screw people over by not allowing them to go with their triangle advantage. So that's what that is. I have less critical damage here because this was obviously an explorer. Okay. That is something to note there. Will, if you are using critical damage, you are going to get less if you're fighting an explorer with an explorer than if you were fighting an interceptor with an explorer. Something to note there. But I do think that run against these 53s with the Cerritos went a little better than the one yesterday. Yes, it's kind of hard to tell because I got 131,000 from 2 survey ships. Though I did end up with 308,000 in total. So how do you try to differentiate that? Well, I guess I did get to 180,000 yesterday. So did a little better with the Cerritos, though fighting explorers with the explorer kind of hurt me a little bit. So again, while here I am trying to demonstrate, maybe give you some ideas about things you can do with this. Don't forget about your Cerritos and your Discovery. Wrapping things up here. finally figured it out. Or, I think I did figure it out before. I've had questions like that before. Like, why is crit damage here more? And against this hostile, is a little less. Totally forgot because some of these researches and some of these crit damage researches only activate when you're fighting with the triangle instead of against the triangle or your triangle neutral. So try to make sure that you are fighting your triangle advantage. Something that I may start doing, bringing my Sanctus in here and hitting some of these battleships when I'm grinding. Slightly annoying, but if you do have two ships capable of grinding in here, taking out some of the, your disadvantage for your main ship could get you more of the hostiles that you want to hit. Like, for instance, maybe here me taking out some of these battleships could get me more interceptors to kill with my Explorer. Kind of a nuisance, but it's an idea anyway. That's what we're trying to do here, trying to figure out how to make this Xindi grind easier instead of a goddamn pain in the ass. Harder. Okay, well, I think that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully, I can make the sizing and everything worked out just as good with the tablet here. Been so long, I think I remember how to do it. Just have to move it over to the computer just like my phone. All right, combat. Yeah, combat. Comment below. Did you remember yesterday that you could use your Cerritos with the Cerritos event and do some of these Xindi hostiles? I forgot in the video, but I did remember a little later. And yeah, it does suck to kind of, have to do many grinds, but at the same time, how does that work for you and your loot acquisition? Waiting for the 1 day a week with the Cerritos and doing a bunch of runs here, like say in the Xindi land, Cerritoing your ship, maybe getting a little bit extra loot. Yes, it's kind of a lot in 1 day, but can it last you a week? And is that a good thing? I do kind of like that process because it does remove time. Let's say if you do 2 or 3 runs a week, you have to recruit every time. Well, let's kind of save the time, right? You don't have to spend that extra minute or two recruiting. Be sure to like and subscribe. I am the Angry Rhino. Shields up, Commanders.